On this edition of River Tales, we'll introduce you to the unique and beautiful art of origami. Visit with two National Guardsmen who happen to be mother and daughter. Talk with some local antique dealers and stop by for a dynamite cup of coffee. Stay tuned to River Tales.
Whether it's for business or just a getaway, Cape Air is your wings in the Midwest. Cape Air serves 6 destinations, including Kirksville, Quincy, Fort Leonard Wood, Cape Girardeau, Marion, and Owensboro. Fly from Cape Girardeau to St. Louis with fares starting at just $49 each way. With easy connections through Lambert St. Louis International Airport, Cape Air connects you to the Midwest and the world. Book today at capeair.com or call 800-CAPE-AIR and enjoy the ride.
At Chan's restaurant, the most unique decorations are the origami folded from dollar bills, all of which handmade by Kiki, one of the employees. She has been working at Chan's for 9 years. Kiki moved to the United States with her family 10 years ago from China. This past decade, she became interested in folding origami while getting used to her new life in a new country.
欣赏一下我的作品，这个我很喜欢，26个字母有3D 的效果。你如果从侧面看的话，它应该有4层。这个就是用1块钱折的，有眼睛、鼻子、嘴巴。这个是分车，用中国人民币折的。143 I love you， 爱就1个单词嘛，然后 love LOV 有4个单词，然后 you 是3个单词，然后这个520是中国的 I love you。 是我们中国人会说我爱你就用520表达。
Kiki has already folded more than 500 origami pieces. The shapes of her origami are very diverse.
突然之间，你是就喜欢折纸，还是说你从小的时候其实就对折纸感兴趣？
没有，小时候没有这方面的想法呢。到了美国以后嘛，然后在餐馆工作。 然后有一天，一个客人那个进来买东西算钱，然后他就拿了一张那个用这1块钱折的那个衣服，我当时就特别喜欢，我就自己回家，然后就把它拆开琢磨，后来我就慢慢喜欢上了，我觉得特别可爱嘛。好了，这我们都是天空中的一颗星星。
Kiki started learning online and buying origami books to improve her skills. Over time, she wanted to challenge herself by folding bills from other countries. Since the proportion of each country's bill is different, she needs to discover new steps to adapt to different bills. Kiki also says it's a great way for her to learn English and make friends in this country.
这个作品是，其实，在我们国内的时候，中国的时候，在我读初中的时候，其实一般学校里面很多人都会折，因为他折这个心表示爱心嘛，送给他自己喜欢的人啊。然后这个作品有3颗星，它侧面是1颗星，然后在这一边侧面也是1颗星，然后一个大星。这其实也是象征的一个家庭里面有夫妻、丈夫跟妻子，然后2颗星，然后同心协力变成了1颗星。 就是心，爱心。毕竟现在这个社会，大家都是低头族，天天都是玩手机，动手方面好像越来越落后了。我觉得其实有时候你不玩手机，你动手画个画呀，做一些手工艺品啊，其实比那个玩手机来得更开心了。 就是欣赏着自己的作品就很开心，然后如果说有人有人欣赏你的作品，你会更开心的。所以说，也是因为这些客人，因为这些客人，所以他才激励了我， 因为客人欣赏我折的东西，所以才会让我坚持了这么久。喜欢的东西就得坚持去做。
What do you think about the origami?
I love it. Which one do I like the best? I think right now I'm really liking the alphabet.
I think it's really artistic and beautiful, and every time we come here, and my son, he just loves to look at all of the origami. He can just look at each one, spend all kinds of time looking at each one. It's neat that you can take something as simple as paper and turn it into something so amazing.
I think it's pretty fun to look at, especially while we're eating. We can have conversation and talk about, try to guess how many dollars are in each piece and different things like that.
10.
You think there's $10 bills in that?
Oh, I think there's more than that.
Rebecca.
Yeah, we were going to teach Rebecca how to make some origami.
Would that be fun to learn something? Yeah.
很多客人都建议说，哎呀，你就折了作品，把它那个镶在相框里面，然后拿去卖。其实这个卖我是不想卖，因为那个反正作品折出来就是给人欣赏的嘛，给人审美上面的享受。所以说，我也想过去学校当义工，教一些小朋友折纸动手嘛，动手可以提高小朋友的动手能力，然后也可以提高他们的想象力嘛。做餐饮嘛，要谋生，所以说没有那么多的多余时间去学校。但我想说，等以后如果有机会的话，有这个各方面条件成熟的话，我就想，如果说去我儿子的那个学校教，不管去哪里教，就是教1个小时，或者比如说一个星期教1个小时教一种作品的话，其实也很好。这个菠萝是那个用人民币1角钱人民币折的，这个应该有300多张，用300多张、400多张折的嘛。这个其实折没有难度的，就是说要折这个，它是用一张一张折起来的，然后扣在一起的。其实它就像这样子，就把它可以一张一张拆开的那种，套进去的。
Kiki chose to fold bills because it's more unique than normal paper. Paper can be cut into any size, but bills have a certain proportion, which makes it harder to fold than papers. This limitation is not a bad thing because the results are great.
你现在折的是什么？秘密。
Kiki says she would like to give her origami away to a museum perhaps someday. Actually, the restaurant already looks like a small museum to me because it showcases artwork of someone's passion and effort through the time it took to make them.
Ball out.
My name is Crystal Cecil. I'm in the Missouri Army National Guard. My daughter is also in the Missouri National Guard. I am a second lieutenant, military police officer. Carrying on the family tradition, she joined the military 8 months after me.
I am Brittany Cecil. I'm enlisted in the National Guard. I am an officer candidate for the Gold Program. And the Gold Program stands for Guard Officer Leadership Development Program. It is located at Southeast Missouri State University. And what we do is we are already, like I said, we are enlisted as it is. We've been through basic and AIT. Now we are just getting prepared to go to OCS, which is Officer Candidate School.
I get the opportunity to come in and work with the future officers from time to time, so I get to watch her develop as a future leader. It's a very unique dynamic because we are here and I am Lieutenant Cecil and she is Specialist Cecil, and then we go home and now I'm Mom. It's really unique When we are both in uniform, we have a strict rule. It's not mom and daughter. We are strictly soldiers. When one of us is out of uniform, especially if Brittany's out of uniform and I am in uniform, she takes advantage of that and I still get to be mom. It's a very, very rewarding experience.
My mother and I, we do have a close relationship, and I work in the gold office. I worked in the office with my mother for a brief period of time before she went to Bullock this summer. It was really hard not to call her mom, but it was nice seeing her. Being in the program with my mother, it really helped me out. I am constantly competing with her, and I keep trying to get up there with her on her level. She is strict on me. She does want me to do the best I can do and be the best soldier I can be.
My father and my stepfather were both Vietnam veterans. I finally entered the military at 33. My husband, my daughter, and I were going to my father's house for dinner, and we passed a convoy of military vehicles. And as I had said a million times over the previous 17 years, I said I wish I had joined the military. My daughter chimed in from the back seat and said, well, Mom, why didn't you join the military? You talk about it all the time. And I just told her, you know, when I was 17 and I was thinking about it, I ended up having you. So I delayed it because I wanted to be home with you. And she asked me why I didn't go now. I thought that I was too old to join. And she told me that if I didn't go at least speak to a recruiter, she would feel like there was something I didn't do in my life because of her. So I went to speak with a recruiter. I ended up joining. After I joined the military and I came home from training, I spoke with Captain Mealy of the Show Me Gold program. My husband and I sat down with him and we had to talk about me becoming an officer. He thought that I was a good candidate for officer candidate school based on my education and what I was currently doing with the military. My husband and I went home and we talked about the possibility of me going to officer candidate school, working with the Show Me Gold program and being an officer in the military. I still wasn't convinced. My husband was completely convinced that that's what I needed to do with my life and that I would make a really good officer. Eventually, I did decide to join the Show Me Gold program, and I went to officer candidate school and commissioned. And pretty soon my daughter will commission too.
I wanted to join because I want to give back to the community. I want to be able to do something that'll better my hometown, and the National Guard does that. We go out for natural disasters, but we also can get deployed along with other branches of the military.
My husband is a Navy veteran, and he has been a very supporting force for myself and my daughter. One of the bigger reasons that I am a criminal justice major is my husband's father was a policeman for his entire life. Unfortunately, his father passed away at a very young age of 42, so it was a way of honoring his family.
Second Lieutenant Cecil is commissioning as a MP, which is military police. I want to cook, and that is my job for the for Army National Guard. I am a 92 Golf, a food service specialist.
At the university, I spend the first 4 or 5 hours of my day in the criminal justice department, and then I transition downstairs to the military science department where I get to work with the officer candidates or helping with the program, giving back to the program that helped commission me. It's very important for me to be able to go back and assist with that program. I really believe in what it's doing for the students and especially our young soldiers. I think that there are a lot of young people out there that have a lot of potential, but they don't have the one person to just spark their interest in something or to help give them direction. So being a part of the Missouri National Guard gives me the opportunity to work with a lot of young soldiers, so I get the opportunity to get in front of people and mentor them. So that is one of my biggest draws. My daughter and I are both very humanitarian type people. We are currently scheduled to run in a Special Olympics race in Florida next year. We are going to run a half marathon together where we are raising money for the Special Olympics.
I would not change anything about my life right now. It's great, it is fantastic.
Helmet would pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We make the name Cecil awesome.
We're okay.
The stage doesn't care. The studio doesn't care. The concert hall, the dance floor, the box office, they don't care.
If you can act, you can act.
If you can draw, you can draw.
The Holland School of Visual and Performing Arts does not care.
If you can play, you can play.
When I was 6 years old, my dad moved down here, bought a brush hog, went to an auction, bought a little bitty box, brought it home, was intrigued with everything in it. He started an antique shop in 1970 here in Cape Girardeau. A few years later, my father passed away. They closed the shop, and we moved back in the house. Well, my husband went to an auction to find out how much my father's stuff was worth. When he did that, he bought a little box. Once again, I'm living in the same house I grew up in. Still can't walk through the house, and I've got another hoarder.
Antiquing is like a little adventure. You never know what you're going to get. I became a collector at a very early age. A story that my parents used to tell a lot was whenever I was 7 years old, I was missing for dinner and no one could find me. What had happened was I ran off and saw an auction going on and saw everybody putting their hand up, bidding on stuff and winning. So I started doing that and winning a lot of auctions. The problem was I didn't have any money.
My husband and I got into this business in sort of a roundabout way. We went to an auction one day at Jackson, Missouri back in the early 80s. And there were 3 or 4 boxes of old vintage magazines, romance and movie magazines, much like these that you see here today. So we bid on them, and guess what? We got them. And that just got us on a head start to a paper kingdom of all sorts of different kinds of things.
My husband and I, the first week we were married, we went to an auction and began collecting, and we bought a table and only owned a Volkswagen, so thankfully somebody had a truck to bring home the table we bought. But so we didn't sell in a shop until our children, I have 3 daughters, one of them or 2 of them were in college, and my college. My college roommate said her and her husband had a booth and they were making the tuition payments with what they earned from those sales, and my husband and I said, wow. So we got just 3 little shelves to start, and oh, I don't know, that's probably 30 years ago already.
I would describe antiquing as just one big treasure hunt. It doesn't matter if you buy things to resell, it doesn't matter if you buy them just because you love them. I do both.
I do this definitely for fun. It's a hobby that's turned into an obsession. I finally admitted it. But you end up with a passion for collecting, and you never know, like I say, what there is in store for you. Once you go out, you see something, you know, you can say, I'm looking for this, and you go complete 360 where you're already purchasing something else different.
It's almost like a drug, at least it is for my husband. He just has so much fun. He calls him, everything's his treasures. Every weekend we go find treasures. Sometimes we go out of state, we go to different auctions, sometimes in Kentucky, Indiana.
Every time we go somewhere, we stop at an antique shop. That's when we travel, we're always shopping.
Most of the things we've acquired have come from auctions and tag sales, and on 1 or 2 occasions from pig barns in the middle of a field, where literally we, with the farm dogs, went to the barn and came back with about 800 vintage magazines, which was quite an experience. The pigs were not particularly friendly, but it's okay, it worked out.
It makes the adventure all the more sweeter. Getting to go to a unique place, to buy a unique thing. There's the story, it's the experience. Not only you making history, you're selling it as well.
any little town that you go through, it's always such a treat to get to stop at the little local antique shops and go through, look and see what they have. And it's amazing what you'll find that makes its way back to Missouri.
I think the downtown Cape Girardeau area is really good for antiques. We have quite a few shops. I think somebody said 9 down here.
It's very strong. It's a community of the people downtown. I think we have over 14 different antique stores in this area, so it's where collectively everybody likes to set up.
Oh, it's becoming one of the places everybody wants to come to. They come from Kentucky, Illinois, they come from St. Louis even. Cherokee Street in St. Louis used to be one of the hot hubs for antiques, but we've got probably 7 shops just down in 2 blocks radius in Cape Girardeau. And we're becoming a place that everybody knows. Go to Cape if you want to do antiquing.
I think the antique market here in downtown Cape is one of the best in the state, if not the country. We have a great variety of stores. They start not on Main Street, just go up Broadway. I mean, I couldn't even tell you offhand how many there are. But each store has a variety of items. Some specialize more in one thing than another, but I guarantee you anybody who comes to Cape Girardeau to antique is not going to go home empty-handed. I think people are interested in antiques because there's a real sense of nostalgia. There always has been, and I think there always will be. Whether you grew up in the 70s and Star Wars was your special thing, or if you grew up in the 50s and metal dollhouses were your thing. I think it's just a sense of nostalgia. I think it's also comforting in many ways. Antiques are reminders of our past, and that's very important.
The reason we're interested in antiques, one of them is we feel like the old things have quality that newer products, same item you could buy today wouldn't have the quality. Also, just they're interesting, their history, and so it's educational and just fun.
Collecting is something that you're born to do. I've been doing it for almost 40 years and it never gets boring.
My husband used to be very quiet, and he's still quiet, but if you get him talking about antiques, he's a totally different man. He's very communicative and he's very knowledgeable, just like my father was.
Well, if you've never thought about buying and selling antiques, I'd say it's more than a hobby, it's a vocation, an avocation, and it's a great retired person's activity. I heartily recommend it.
Started right here in Cape. My first 5 years as a barista. Worked at a local mom and pop shop. Stimulant that I appreciate every morning when I'm dragging a little bit. But it's anything from the art. As you've seen, there's designs that can be placed on the cups of coffee. The science. There's literally too many details to count. Anything from taste descriptors to chemical reactions. I mean, there's so much going on. At the end of the day, I understand it's just a cup of coffee, but there's enough to keep you going and fascinated and pursuing and pushing every single day, not to mention a simple putting a smile on a customer's face. Born in Chesterfield, lived in Pacific, which is around St. Louis, for about 7 years, and then down here in Southeast Missouri in Scott City, right down the road, all the way through high school, and then college here at Southeast. And it's really just more of understanding that that's the season right now. So, you know, the job at Oracle, that allows me to take care of my family, you know, provides stable income, great benefits, and they're very supportive of my entrepreneurial goals, and so it's a great relationship, and it's great collaboration. Point observation, there are, for our area, downtown, there are several options, and so it could be scaled down, but a same reception and some white noise, you know, because there's options. But again, just to be able to be close to home, close to family. So we saw that as an exciting opportunity to come in, give it our spin, again, let the coffee speak for itself. So far, I mean, it seems like it's been pretty good reception, so we're thankful for that. To say we love and appreciate our customers is an understatement. I mean, day in and day out, they'll come in and, you know, we make it a point to not only know drinks, but names. I mean, I think it's important. I mean, again, it's a people business, it's a customer service business, but we have our own goals, you know, to make that happen first and foremost. So name and drinks of the utmost importance. From there, again, since we don't have Wi-Fi or other carrots dangling, distracting, we make it a point to strike up conversations and get to know people as much as they let us. Yeah, I mean, we would like to have a bit more space, but we are a fan of a smaller footprint. I mean, not only is it more about expenses, but it's more about having the ability to create some intimacy, for lack of a better word. We don't offer Wi-Fi, that's on purpose. We like the interaction, we like people talking. My name is Robbie Britt, and I am the owner of Dynamite Coffee here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Thanks for watching River Tales. Each month, we'll travel the region to meet fascinating people, highlight important events, and find new places to discover. Join us again for River Tales. River Tales is produced by the students of the TV and Film program at Southeast Missouri State University.